included members of the UPDF High Command persons who were senior officers of the Army as at 26 January 1986, chiefs and directors of services, commandants of training institutions, brigade and battalion commanders, and officers commanding equivalent units of the Defense Forces. Other members included the Defense Forces Sergeant Major and Regional Reserve Forces commanders under the Reserve Forces. Earlier, again related to the same event, the President commissioned 3 officer cadets who completed their officer cadet training from abroad in December 2025. They included Second Lieutenant Bazaraki Tikula, who trained in Sri Lanka, and Second Lieutenant Moses Ekoi, and Second Lieutenant or Lieutenant Piloya Vivian Both, who trained in Tanzania. The UPDF, that's the Uganda People's Defense Forces, that does congratulate the newly elected and re-elected representatives to the 12th Parliament and wishes the 10 very good luck in their tour of duty right there. Didan Mubangizi, the duly elected Member of Parliament for Buekula South, following a court-ordered vote recount, delivering the contents of each box, particularly the ballot boxes, were carefully examined and tallied. According to the final results, NUP's Edward Sempira garnered 1,878 votes. Didan Mubangizi secured 7,908 votes, while independent candidate Fred Tumwesige received 7,505 votes. Based on the tally, the court declared Mubangizi the winner and rightful Member of Parliament for Buekula South. Speaking after the ruling, Mubangizi welcomed the decision, thanking supporters and the court for what he described as a fair process. Tumwesige, who had earlier been declared winner by the Electoral Commission, rejected the ruling and said he would consult his lawyers for further legal action. Those are the 2 pieces of breaking news.
Didan Mubangizi, who is the applicant in this particular application for a recount, he garnered a total of 7,908 votes. Tumwesige Fred garnered a total of 7,504 votes. This implies that Mubangizi Dinan received the highest number of votes in the recount, and I accordingly, under the law, declare him the winner of the election through the recount. And is accordingly declared the rightful Member of Parliament for Buekula South.
It is city dwellers and indeed workers who are still waiting the results for their division mayoral and council races. We now cross over to Nakawa, where our reporter Henry Mginyi has the latest update to find out. Henry, does the city now know whether it has any winners, or is it that waiting game? And waiting for how long?
Thank you very much, Samson, and everyone that is watching NBS Live at 9. I am coming to you live from Nakawa at the main tally center, where results from around the Kampala district division are coming in. But since morning, I've been here and just a few results are coming in. As of now, all the update that I have for you is that only one mayor has really been declared officially that is Salimu Wuru, who joins the Makindye mayor that was not in the competition really, that was only alone in the competition. So in the process that is happening here, it is only one mayor. So we await to see what the Electoral Commission officials will have to communicate to the just to break it down for us. A very good evening.
A very good evening to you all and all our viewers watching us live on NBS. My name is Godfrey Leombia. I'm a Lord Councillor-elect for Nakawa 2 and as well currently serving as a Speaker for Nakawa Division Abad Council.
Yes. You've been here watching over how the process is moving. To you, what is your assessment?
The process is kind of hectic, very manual and non-planned, because you cannot tell us that we had an election yesterday and we are spending now over like 24 hours without getting declarations of various candidates. You realize today's and yesterday's exercise is looking at candidates for lower government levels, and when we are tallying, they tally results parish per parish. They have been doing that since last night. Some of us are still in the clothes that we wore yesterday. We cannot even go to change because we are monitoring the election. I've been managing the tally center, our private tally center for Nakawa Mayor, Alebuk and Nubianli. So we couldn't even leave the grounds because results keep on coming in and out per parish. But what is challenging our colleagues is that these people finish a given parish and they fail to declare that given candidate or council of given parish right away. That has caused too much traffic here. Many candidates are not declared even up to now. Even those with one parishes whose results were tallied way long ago, they haven't been declared. It is kind of challenging because we have seen competitors who have been challenging these elections now coming up. Gone are the days when one could win an election, the voters go to your home and they celebrate your victory. These things now have totally changed. You win an election, come to the tele center, and instead find someone that you've challenged highly, coming also to seek for the win that person hasn't worked for. So by creating these delays, it has promoted corruption at the center, because now people are trying to exchange money for declarations and all that, something that is really not the democracy that we are yearning to see.
Samson and everyone that is watching NBS Live at 9, many candidates are still here, and me, I'm still here, still waiting to the announcements that will be done by the Electoral Commission. But since morning, there's only one mayor for Kampala District Division mayor that has been announced yet, waiting for Nakawa Division, waiting for Kawempe, also waiting for Lubaga. But all the details that will be coming in, I'll be relaying them live to you, Samson, such that you relay them to the viewers. Thank you.
Well, we've been waiting for Christ for 2,000 years. We could as well wait for those results as and when they will come. Henry Mugenyi there for us. Now, there's growing skepticism over how effectively Parliament will conduct national business after more than 70% of its incumbents, legislators that is, lost their seats. Some lawmakers argue that government weeping alone may be insufficient and that the Speaker may need to evoke stronger disciplinary measures against members who fail to perform their duties, that is, if they even know why they need to go. The government, however, remains optimistic that defeated legislators will continue to fulfill their responsibilities until the next term of Parliament does start and resume office.
Parliament is finally set to resume mandatory business time after general elections. There is worry, however, that the attrition rate that affected incumbents and swept through the legislature could push some to stay away from the House at a critical budgeting time. Dr. Chris Bariomunsi is a government minister in charge of information. He explains that the loss registered by more than 70% of the MPs will not affect the work at Parliament as they return with energy.
It's not a big setback, simply because some members have not made it to cross the 12th Parliament, that they won't be able to do their work. They are expected to come to Parliament. We process the budget and complete it. And it's not the first time.
Some members of parliament say while the attendance could be lower, it does not impact on the business in the House as some does not require any quorum. These acknowledge that while the mood of many might be low, the mandate of the term of office must be fulfilled.
On the role of MPs, whether you have won elections, whether you have lost elections, you still have a role to play because the term of office is extending up to May.
Because as a committee of budget, we've been receiving reports, and despite the fact that we have fewer members coming to Parliament, especially those who have not come back, we are still seeing the quality of reports.
Some argue that, if need be, the Speaker could employ sanctions to compel many to attend.
Especially members who have lost, they are wounded. You may not want to punish them, but I think the rules are very clear, and if need be, the Speaker can enforce the rules to compel members to attend plenary or to attend these meetings. The rules are clear.
Not just MPs, the question on what next for ministers that defied the President's guidance and contested as independents but registered lawsuits still lingers. While Dr. Chris Beriomusi says he does not anticipate a punishment from the President, some MPs feel that they have a lot to explain.
Eventually, sanctions will definitely be brought out. But for now, I think it is too early to think that someone who ran as an independent, say a minister, that will be punished simply because of that. The President and the party acknowledges the internal weaknesses within the NRM party.
There's to blame and also a lot to explain as to why they did not listen to the great advice of the leader. He might not have to sanction them. Why?
As Parliament resumes its full capacity, what awaits to be seen is the attention to detail of critical business of the nation.
Parliament certainly has lost some very vocal quality top and seasoned legislators, and they've left Parliament, raising concerns among some members of Parliament who now fear that the absence and loss of these could affect effectiveness and quality of the 12th Parliament. However, Bujiri Municipality Member of Parliament Asuman Basarirwa has struck a reassuring note, saying that although the experience and institutional memory of outgoing members of Parliament will be missed, a core group of seasoned lawmakers remains ready to mentor newcomers and provide leadership in the House.
The 11th Parliament and previous ones boasted of a lineup of vocal and experienced legislators who shaped the country's narrative with research-backed views. The 12th Parliament will, however, miss a number of them.
But in Sebei sub-region, we came out of 9 members of Parliament, we returned only 3.
Some MPs worry that this brain drain will impact the House's ability to robustly debate and shape Uganda's future.
Despite the fact that I'm in the NRM, it's actually good to have strong legislators from the opposition bench. It actually creates a very good debate in the House, a very good atmosphere. And I think the 12th Parliament is going to miss a very good audience, very good debaters.
Because in Parliament we need experience, we need to learn from each other. So it's not good to almost throw the whole Parliament down.
I know we are going to miss them because they mentored some of the members, and then many people used to learn from them.
It takes time to master processes in committees, processes on the floor. It takes time.
But Bujiri Municipality MP Asumani Basalirwa disagrees, pointing to old guards like Norbert Mao and Paul Mwiru, saying they will mentor the new legislators.
There is going to be blending, although a good number are new, but there is hope that at least some old guns have returned. They will provide the leadership, they will provide the experience.
And I can say whoever came this time from Terego, I determined.
The exodus has sparked debate on the factors behind 80% of incumbents losing their seats.
They failed to balance the two, both parliamentary work here in the House and on ground. But those of us, some of us who tried to manage both on ground, do something on ground, to be available when you are needed on ground, we made it back.
There are some invisible forces that also fight us. For instance, for me in the West Nile, how can this boy be talking very aggressively about issues of electricity? How can he be uniting the region? How? There were forces from many places I don't want to mention here that were targeting me.
There were a lot of fights among his colleagues, and then those who also don't want to wish you well, those who have, those who think they determine who should be in parliament. They gave money, they did everything. I was sprayed with pepper, there were gunshots, but I still won.
On the opposition's witness presence, Basaliwa says disunity did them in. He says it's the first time they have gone to an election without a joint opposition front.
This unity, we failed to come together, we failed to unite. For the first time in about 20 years, we've gone into an election as opposition without any united force. And as a result, when you look at the figures, we've been punished.
As for Jema, which lost its only seat, Basalirwa says the party remains strong thanks to its structures.
Asking how can we not have a conversation with the Honorable Ibrahim Semjunganda and Godba Tumshabe, who are ready for me. Honorable Ibrahim Semjunganda, how does somebody find it in and of themselves to debate with passion and zeal, representing a group of people that just fired them and decided they want somebody else after all?
Kasuma, you need to pose the question again.
Question I'm asking, where do you find the zeal and the fire to represent a group of people who fired you and decided they want somebody else?
But they gave me a mandate up to May. Even as I speak to you, I have just left Parliament. I am organizing a response to the budget framework paper which will be presented tomorrow. Because these matters are not personal. They are matters affecting the country, affecting us and our children and grandchildren. So if a budget process begins, that budget will benefit those who are in Parliament, but also those who are outside. So if I still have an opportunity of 2 months to contribute, be sure you will see me in Parliament. I will make that contribution, and then I will leave the rest of the processes to colleagues who will be joining the 12th Parliament. And I want to encourage other MPs, please come to Parliament, do the work, and then sign off as a good MP who has done his work.
Just because perhaps Ibrahim Semjunganda, the honest person that you are, but would you understand somebody who says, I mean, these voters don't want me, I will not go there, and those who don't come, what should be done to them? They are still licking their political wounds.
Went into this election knowing that you have a chance to win or to lose. How can I begin blaming voters who gave me an opportunity to serve the country for 15 years? I had wanted to come for another term, but they said, we've given you enough. So how can I not be thankful to them and to the Almighty? So I was in Parliament on conviction to do some work, and I want to do that work. And I will continue doing some other work even outside Parliament. But the trouble with you, Kasuma, and others is to think that MPs who are not attending Parliament are doing so because they have lost an election. These MPs have also not been attending Parliament with or without elections. We've been struggling to get quorum. So those who are disgruntled, who feel very bad about their loss, ask them if they have been attending Parliament. So Parliament ordinarily is run by not more than 50 MPs. The rest of the MPs are just watching and enjoying debate so really they are not attending. Their lack of energy to attend has nothing to do with the election. For them, this was a job from
to the media. You are back to us now, but I'll come back to you in a bit. Godba, let me ask, is this two mandates? The mandate of the MP that is still in, and then the mandate of somebody else that hasn't gone in. Is there a gap in the law there?
No, Samson, basically there is no gap at all. Because I think, as Ibra has just said, there is a mandate, which is 5 years, and for the current parliament, which is the 11th parliament, that mandate ends up to May. So for any MP who doesn't show up to be able to complete that business of the 11th parliament, that can only be a matter of indiscipline. It cannot be, the reason cannot be that such a person has no mandate. So MPs that are professional, that are public spirits, that know that they are serving the public, will know that they have an obligation to be able to conclude that business of the 11th parliament. And again, as Ibra said, we know, those of us who watch the parliament from the outside, we know that there are MPs who normally do work as public servants, as representatives of the people. I am pretty confident that those ones will continue up to the end of the 11th parliament. Those who have been there mainly as cheerleaders, as employees, as job seekers, those ones probably you will not see them between now and when the 11th parliament ends.
But we are human beings. God forbid, if my employer fired me today, but I have a contract to finish, and then they hired somebody to do the job, they're also in the building, it becomes humanly difficult to find the same energy knowing that you are out of the door anyway.
And no, that actually can only mean that there was already a bad relationship between you and the employer, because I mean, some of us employ people. You don't want to renew someone's contract. You give them a notice, and you are able to orient them, and they go through the orientation, and they go through the handover. So by the time an employee says, because my contract is not going to be renewed or fired, it means there was already a bad relationship. And I think for the MPs, those relationships, we know those MPs who have been there basically occupying spaces without adding any value, and therefore even if they don't come to parliament, I wouldn't really, and maybe they should not even come, because that will give the Ibras and the others who have been doing serious legislative business in the parliament, that could give them enough time to be able to debate and complete the current business. No, I think any anxiety about the fact that MPs of the 11th parliament will not conclude that agenda can only be based on the fact that those were actually not doing the work. The ones who have been doing the work, I am pretty confident they will do it and try and finish their mandate.
And finally, as I come back to Honorable Ibrahim Ssemujunganda, if you ask people who have been reporting Parliament, people who have been researching on Parliament business, they will tell you that Honorable Ibrahim Ssemujunganda was one of the top performers. Jonathan Odur was one of the top performers. What does it say about us when we throw out our best?
No, so I mean, Samson, was that for me?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so for the MPs like Ibra, like Jonathan and others who have been voted out, you see, I have said time and again that our elections are not necessarily elections that are dealing with merit. You are basically dealing with a process that is corrupted and that is distorted by the heavy involvement of security forces, the heavy involvement of the NRM regime that basically tries to rig both the process and the elections. So you can never be sure that actually these people have been voted out, because the entire electoral process is a rigged process. Even the electoral commission, that the electoral commission itself becomes a part of the rigging machinery. So I think it is wrong to even conclude that people like Ibra and Jonathan and others were simply voted out because they were not performers. I think we just need to put more light on the electoral system itself, because it's a rigged and broken electoral system.
And to you, Honorable Ibrahim Ssemujunganda, you and I enjoy sport. The expectation is that the best player remains on the pitch, because that's how a team wins a football game. When the best player is substituted, when they sit on the bench, the next time they are asked to play, do they have the fire to play? Will you even come back to the same group and say, look, I want to give you another shot.
See, first of all, I did not set out to become an MP. Eventually, circumstances forced me to join politics. I went there to make a contribution. I have been using Parliament as a platform to fight for freedom, to speak for the voiceless. That one platform has gone away. You now have me on NBS. I'll have some other platforms. I'm not angry with anyone. We are in this together. This country is bleeding. People are crying, including those. Me, I have said I lost an election. There are those who won, but the losers have been declared. You have people who have been arrested. Today I visited the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi in Chitaria. Dr. Kiza Besigye is sick in Ruzira. So if I am going to cry about an election, what about Besigye, who sacrificed at least 4 years of his life in a jet life to fight for Uganda, and he can be denied treatment in Ruzira where he is? I will be ungrateful for me to focus on just Semuju being an MP. I want to focus on the problems affecting the country.
Thank you, Godbat Mushabe, and thank you, the Honorable Ibrahim Semjungana. Now, ending this interview is not firing you by any means. It's just that that's the time we had. Thank you for your time, for the two of you, Godbat Mushabe and the Honorable Ibrahim Semjungana. Thankfully, I don't know what it is to be fired, but this is what is coming in a few.
More to come, brought to you by...
Everyone knows we use Global Paint Undercoat. Now, for the best results, I continue with Global Paint's products. Global Paint, a reliable...
Well, UPC win does reignite Lango politics debate. Is an empire being built in Lango? That is a conversation we're going to have when we come back. Now, this is what I'm going to do using the powers I have. I'm firing the first segment to make way for the second after the break.
I want to be an engineer. I want to be a chef. I want to be a mechanic. I want to be a musician. I want to be a basketballer.
Twinbrook International School is a school where you will see people from around the world. It's diverse. You will have the opportunity to experience things you've never experienced before. We have highly skilled teachers and a comfortable environment that does not pressure but eases the minds of students to help them into their future careers. Our school integrates art, culture, history, language, and performing arts such as drama, music, and dance into the academic curriculum. Work smart, succeed. Twinbrook International School.
Buy genuine Decra roofing tiles, the original stone-coated alu zinc steel roofing system from New Zealand. Choose from Heritage, Milano, Shingle, Shake, and Classic profiles with a variety of colors and a 50-year warranty. Only available at Depot Uganda. Telephone 0776 898 888 or 0758 853 285. Depot Uganda. Tried, tested, and trusted.
So, Muchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app.
peoples across Uganda with estates in Mukono, Bombo, Kaga, Matuga, and many more other estates. With over 15 years of experience, you're guaranteed the best, and you can start paying in installments. All our estates are well planned. Start your journey to land ownership today. Zion Estates, your home, your prestige.
Starting with 100,000 shillings, you begin building real financial strength. Because wealth doesn't just happen, you build it. And the ones who start early end up ahead. Every deposit, every month, every little increase. This is how your money grows into wealth. Put your money to work with the experts at SBG Securities. Partner with us today on your investment journey.
SBG Securities. Keep growing for you, for them, forever.
Welcome back. You're still watching NBS Live at 9. Now, the Uganda People's Congress UPC victory in Ajuri County, Alebtong district, has reignited debate over the party's political strength in its traditional Lango stronghold. Party President Jimmy James Akena says the win demonstrates that UPC remains deeply rooted despite what he calls sustained efforts to weaken the party. Following a rerun in a limited number of polling stations, Fred Jalameso was declared Member of Parliament-elect for Ajuri County, securing 16,336 votes against NRM's Hamson Obua, who polled 15,568. Beyond the celebrations, questions linger about what the victory truly signals for UPC's future in Lango.
The Ajuri County victory has become a symbolic moment for the Uganda People's Congress, a party long identified with the Lango politics, but increasingly challenged by the shifting voter loyalties and dominance of the ruling National Resistance Movement. The UPC President Jimmy Akena says reclaiming the seat from NRM's government chief whip Dennis Hamson Oboa, following a limited rerun in the polling stations not considered party strongholds, shows that the party is far from political extinction.
There are those who wished UPC to be wiped out. There were those who wished UPC to be completely destroyed. I think this is a strong warning to them that UPC is far from being destroyed. UPC is well grounded in the society.
Akena argues that the Ajuri result must be understood within what he describes as an uneven electoral environment, citing the funding of political parties and interference by state actors. Despite these challenges, he says that the UPC emerged from the elections with 12 members of parliament from the Lango sub-region, which he describes as evidence of resilience rather than decline. The 12 include 3 MPs in Amolata district, 2 in Alebtong, 1 division MP in Lira City, 2 in Oyam district, 1 in Apache, 1 in Kwania, and 2 in Dokolo district.
The fact that the people of Ajuri came forth and supported the UPC candidate, I think is a testament of the strength of UPC on the ground.
Being represented by a very powerful minister.
However, political analysts note that UPC's recent successes are increasingly concentrated at the grassroots and lower tier levels. While the party struggled in the high-profile urban races such as Lira City, it retained influence in the division mayoral and council elections, a party Akena says reflects the party's real organizational strength.
It doesn't show that the party is strong on the ground as such, but people wanted a change.
What happened yesterday on the division mayors using the BVVK machine shows the level of support, because not only did we get the 2 division mayors, we got a majority of the councillors.
The Ajuri victory, though limited in scale, has become a powerful symbol in Lango's evolving political landscape. In trading centers and villages across Ajuri County and beyond, spontaneous celebrations followed the announcement, marking the end of Dennis Hamson Oboa's nearly 2-decade political dominance in the area.
Because a party which is just within a region, that is a party that cannot take us anywhere.
Akena acknowledges that UPC can no longer solely rely on historical legacy to mobilize voters, particularly among the younger generations. He says the party's future relevance depends on visible service delivery.
The past gives us a guideline, gives us a basis on what UPC has done, what UPC has achieved.
The Ajuri win also confirms that UPC remains alive in its traditional heartland. But whether resilience can be transformed into renewal will depend on whether the party performs in office at the time when voters in the Langwa sub-region are increasingly demanding for results over history.
Now, several opposition party executives failed to secure electoral position, raising questions about their ability to command mass support. Political analysts and observers have highlighted factors behind their defeats, with some questioning the basis on which these leaders contested. Others argue that certain dominant figures deliberately prevented challengers from outshining them, likening the scenario to a political wedding where the groom ensured no bridesmaids stole the spotlight.
The 2026 general election outcome saw the topmost cream of Uganda's opposition political party players fail to break through the ballot system to occupy public offices. Some of these are the Central and National Executive Committee members of the National Unity Platform, the Forum for Democratic Change, People's Front for Freedom, Democratic Front, among others. This has cast doubt as to whether their political strength lay within their respective parties and yet don't command much support. Political executives attribute their failure to what they term as an leveled electoral ground that slid to the yellow end.
We want to change the way results are declared. We want to criminalize any election officer who declares losers as winners. I think this must be criminalized.
Do anything to make sure that you are relegated to being a maid. As you are trying to appear to be the bride, the fate of Dr. Besigye will be on your doorsteps.
Reflecting on their wanting political performance in the general elections, senior analyst Wandero Galo attaches their failure to modus operandi of the electoral system.
But also, you cannot say you've lost it when there is no election. You pretend that we are going through an election, or we sing. Ugandans are full of pretense.
He cites Article 611 of the Constitution and Section 12 of the Electoral Commissions Act that Electoral Commission is obliged to conduct a free and fair election. Failure to actualize this deems an election null and void.
The 2026 elections were not about politics or issues. Actually, it's where you would not even know what were people voting for or against.
You have seen many other candidates from other parties actually crying foul. You saw even in NRM itself.
Analysts and political party executives agree that the 2026 general elections had loopholes of not meeting that standard as stipulated in the 2001 and 2006 Supreme Court rulings in Dr. Kizza Besigye's electoral petitions.
The entire election process, right from the campaigns up to end of voting, should have an atmosphere free of intimidation, bribery, violence, coercion, or anything intended to subvert the will of the people.
And I think that
on the side of political party executives, they are confident that they are cultivating their comeback.
Whether the Nandalas, the Robongoyas you're talking about come back after 5 years, if you have not resolved the fundamental problem of unfairness in elections, it will be the same.
The Supreme Court began hearing the presidential petition filed by National Peasant Party candidate Robert Kasibante. The petitioner's lawyers sought an adjournment to amend and strengthen the evidence. The respondents objected, citing lack of preparedness and warning of constitutional time constraints. However, the court directed both parties to harmonize contested issues and prepare for an expedited hearing process.
Lawyers representing Robert Kasibante, the lead petitioner challenging the January 15th presidential election, in which President Yoweri Museveni was declared winner, opened proceedings by filing an application for adjournment. They told court the request was intended to allow them revise and strengthen the evidence already on record. According to the legal team, submissions filed by the respondents, including President Museveni, raised issues that necessitated amendments in order to provide specific preparedness on the part of the petitioner.
As already been mentioned by the court, time started ticking on the 18th of January, and the time ticks relentlessly until 45 days are done.
The respondents further reminded court that presidential election petitions are constitutionally time-bound and must be handled expeditiously, warning against granting unnecessary adjournment.
This application for amendment is wrong because even the main application is wrong.
Fatal irregularities and irregularities in this petition and application, but it is our contention that it would be a waste of this court's time to adjourn this dead horse.
In response, the petitioner's lawyers maintained that the application was not intended to delay the proceedings, but rather to enrich the petition and make it more effective.
Election petition rules also envisage these circumstances, considering the special nature of the kind of the presidential election petition.
Overturning an earlier objection, the panel of 9 Supreme Court justices directed all parties to consult and harmonize the contested issues in the petition. The court further ordered the parties to prepare a joint scheduling memorandum and file written submissions by Sunday, February 1st, 2026.
We are not going to hear the application now, so the parties and their counsel are going to meet either this afternoon or tomorrow and do a joint scheduling memorandum. Thereafter, we shall convene on the 3rd of February.
Chief Justice Dr. Flavian Zeija explained that court will reconvene on February 3rd to finalize the hearing schedule and determine when proceedings will formally commence. The petition was filed by former presidential candidate Robert Kasibante, who alleges that the electoral process was marred by inconsistencies and irregularities that cumulatively rendered the election neither free nor fair.
Now, the country went to the polls to elect youth members of parliament, with voting held at IUIU campus in Mbale for Eastern Uganda, Ntare High School for Western Uganda, and in Arua for Northern Uganda. Elections got off to a slow start in most areas, but gained momentum as the day progressed. Candidates in the Western Uganda region criticized the influence of money in the election. In Northern Uganda, NRM flag bearer Elma Kapel Chala from Karamoja faced off against UPC's watcher Elizabeth Shakira to succeed Boniface Okot. That's what it looked like on the youth elections. Now, the Center for Constitutional Governance Executive Director Sarah Birete has been granted bail of 1 million shillings by the Buganda Road Magistrates Court. In her ruling, Grade 1 Magistrate Winnie Nancha Jatiko said Birete met all bail conditions, including providing substantial sureties and having a verifiable place of residence. She was, however, ordered to surrender her passport to the court.
After 4 weeks on remand, civil society actor Sarah Birete will spend the night with her family after the Buganda Road Court granted her 1 million shillings cash bail, with her sureties former leader of opposition Winnie Kiza, veteran media personality Joseph Beyanga and veteran diplomat Edith Sempala, each bonded at a 10 million shillings non-cash bail. Grade 1 Magistrate Winnie Nancha Jatiko granted Birete temporary freedom as the case in which she is accused of disclosing personal data contrary to Section 35(1) and 2 of the Data Protection and Privacy Act continues.
For the service application, the accused application for bail is premised on Article 23, Clause 6 of the Constitution and several provisions of the Magistrates Courts Act and the Constitution Law Guidelines for Courts of Judicature Practice Directions of 2022.
Birete, who is also required to deposit her passport with court, was granted bail after prosecution in an earlier session put up a spirited opposition, arguing that her sureties lack the financial muscle to guarantee her appearance in case she absconds. However, in a ruling that brought relief to the defense, Magistrate Nancha dismissed the argument, noting that such a standard would unfairly lock out many Ugandans from accessing bail given the prevailing socio-economic conditions. Outside court, Birete's lawyers were in a jovial mood and vowed to vigorously challenge the charges until their client attains a full freedom.
Is that she has been given an opportunity to go and organize for her defense.
The remaining journey, the Lord will move with us.
Court will resume on the 27th February for further mention of the case.
And let's take a look at your feedback on our opinion question. The question tonight is, with Parliament resuming from recess tomorrow, what are your expectations for the upcoming session? Hashtag NBS Live at 9 right there. Let's take a look at the first comment. Derek M. Tarema says, given the ongoing global uncertainty, economic recovery will likely be a major topic. Expect discussions around inflation control, job creation, public sector investment, and possibly debates on the cost of living crisis. Second there from Rainmaker says several issues of national importance being addressed on the floor, especially following the recent polls. Social Spotlight, what are your leaders online saying? Win Bianyuma says, if we can move past a model of monopolies maximizing profit at the cost of life and sustain bold political will with ambitious investment, we could spark a prevention revolution that could see the end of AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. That's hashtag End AIDS. And more, of course, comments right there. Antonio Guterres, the boss at UN, says the purposes and principles of the UN Charter are not optional. All countries have an obligation to uphold them, to settle disputes peacefully, to safeguard the human rights and dignity of all people, to act in conformity with international law, and to adhere to the letter and the spirit of the principles of self-determination of peoples and the sovereign equality of member states. NBS Live at 9 takes a break. When we're back here, we'll be speaking some business.
Move and get in your groove. Do it for the gram. Do it for the culture. Be loud. Be extra. Be a thinker. A life eater. A Tusker light drinker. Start something. Turn on your lights. Tusker lights.
Are you planning an event or wedding? Join us at Nikan Resort Hotel, Uganda. Relaxing accommodation rooms, well-equipped conference halls and boardrooms. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity to experience the best of hospitality and sufficient space. We're located in Seguku Katale, along Entebbe Kampala Road, channeling easy access to Kampala City and the airport. For reservations and inquiries, contact using the information on your screen or visit our website www.nikanresort.com.
Oh, baby change.
Mommy is sick again. We need money for the hospital.
Wendy, in partnership with Western Union. Download the Wendy app on Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to send, receive, and pay your bills at the lowest cost.
Wendi wonna woli.
You see, I've been a painter for almost 4 decades, and I have found Global Paints to be very reliable. First, everyone knows we use Global Paint undercoat. Now, for the best results, I continue with Global Paints products. I go for silk vinyl when it comes to the interior. Then Global Matte for the ceiling, and when it comes to weatherproof, I go for Global Weather Coat Emulsion. With that one, the house will never peel. Now, there you have a sparkling, magical looking house. And then the client is very happy. He recommends me to another person who recommends me to another person who recommended me to come and do the advert.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
So, Mchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get more goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
Be classic by turning every wash into freshness with Classic Detergent Powder, the high-performance washing solution for all your laundry needs. Toughest on stains, gentle on your hands, and keeps your clothes looking fresh and bright. Enjoy the long-lasting freshness of lavender and lily fragrances. Classic Detergent Powder is affordably priced, giving you unbeatable quality at a price you will love. Customer formulungi, byara mu class ng'okozesa sabuni waffe ow'obuwunga Classic. Genda kuduka lyonneri kulyo kompi oba supermarket osabe Classic Detergent Powder. Classic Detergent Powder, experience a burst of freshness. Distributed by Chopper General Enterprises, located at shop number 3, Rafik Building, Chikovo, Kampala.
Before the headlines, there's the quiet work of confidence. The faces you trust are styled by the hands we trust. Because beauty isn't just seen, it's felt. Alaya Hair and Beauty, the choice behind the spotlight. Redefining beauty, one face at a time.
Thank you for watching NBS Live at 9. Let's move on with some of our stories. Now, lawyers from the National Unity Platform, led by Secretary General David Lewis Rubongoya, visited Chitalia Prison to check on party's Deputy President for Buganda, Mohamed Mwanga Chivumbi, who is on remand over terrorism-related charges. After the visit, Rubongoya and the NUP legal team briefed the media, saying Chivumbi is strong and in good health. They added that he instructed them to carefully study the Constitution and explore all legal avenues to secure his release.
Lawyers from the National Unity Platform headed to Chitalia Minimax Prison, where NUP's Deputy President for Buganda, Mohamed Mwanga Chivumbi, is being held. He was remanded by the Butambala Court on charges related to terrorism. National Unity Platform Secretary General David Lewis Rubongoya said that as a party, they are confident that Chivumbi will overcome this situation.
He's very strong. He knows that this is not prosecution, it is persecution.
He added that Chivumbi directed the lawyers to analyze the Constitution and seek every possible legal way to challenge and deal with the situation.
Our legal team, together with other lawyers, to get in touch with other lawyers to do everything possible to fight for his rights, but also the rights of other political prisoners. We've also seen the Machete group and others who have been here for 5 years now, and they're also strong. We are taking on legal challenges on their behalf and doing everything possible to defend their rights.
Samuel Muyizi, speaking on behalf of the lawyers, condemned the way their colleague was taken to court without their knowledge, as well as the confusion surrounding the exact nature of the charges against him.
Deliberately, he was taken to court without notice to us. Actually, we were misinformed on where he was going to be arraigned. We did not manage to get instructions. He did not manage to receive the instruction from the party to us. Today, we've used this chance of visiting him to really coordinate ourselves on how we shall represent him and get his full instructions.
Mohamed Mwanga Chivumbi is the Member of Parliament for Butambala County in Butambala District. Last Friday, amid heavy security, he was presented before the Butambala court and charged with terrorism and remanded to Chitalia prison.
Concerns are growing over the integrity of post-election processes after courts repeatedly rejected recount applications due to unsealed ballot boxes. Electoral laws require ballot boxes to remain sealed for any recount to be ordered, raising serious questions about who accesses and tampers with election materials after polling. Analysts and legal experts warn the practice undermines electoral justice and public confidence.
In the aftermath of almost every election cycle, post-election disputes emerge as aggrieved candidates challenge declared results, often demanding vote recounts, especially in the immediate days after the elections. However, many such applications fail after courts discover that the ballot boxes required by law to remain sealed were tampered with or opened, rendering them ineligible for recounts.
Cannot be verified where ballot boxes have broken seals.
This has raised questions about who unseals ballot boxes that should leave polling stations properly sealed. Political analyst John Paul Kasuja says responsibility largely lies with government agencies mandated to manage the electoral process, noting that opposition parties often lack access to electoral materials once polling ends.
We have seen on several occasions that the people who have been lodging these actual cases are people who belong to NRM party. And that means that I don't think the opposition has the capacity to force the Electoral Commission to tamper with those results.
Kasuja adds that the unsealing of ballot boxes is often intended to tamper with votes and influence election outcomes.
When these seals are actually tampered with, the intention is to try and reach for that person who has lodged the actual case in order to manipulate the elections and to the results for him to go through all her.
Legal expert Peter Warubini acknowledges that ballot boxes may occasionally open accidentally during transportation, but says it is often difficult to prove that such incidents are unintentional. He argues that regardless of the cause, the presence of unsealed ballot boxes points to serious institutional failures by the Electoral Commission, police, and district returning officers responsible for safeguarding election materials.
That means that the Commission and its staff have slept on their duty.
Walubini further explains that after results are declared, returning officers are required to return all election materials to the Electoral Commission to secure storage. He adds that the materials must be preserved for several years to allow for election petitioners and dispute resolution. However, efforts to get a response from the Electoral Commission on the matter were futile.
It would be prudent to keep the materials until the period for the appeal process is exhausted.
Now, looking at world news, Donald Trump has warned Iran that time is running out to negotiate a deal on its nuclear program following the steady buildup of U.S. military forces in the Gulf. The U.S. president said a massive armada was moving quickly with a great power, enthusiasm and purpose towards Iran, referring to a large U.S. naval force. In response, Iran's mission to the UN said Tehran stands ready for dialogue based on mutual respect and interests. But if pushed, it wrote in all capitals, it would defend itself and respond like never before. Iran insists its nuclear program is entirely peaceful and has repeatedly denied seeking to develop nuclear weapons. Trump's latest warning to Iran's leaders follow his promise that Washington would intervene to help those involved in the brutal and unprecedented crackdown on demonstrations in the country earlier this month.
Business Pulse.
Now moving on to some business tonight, foreign direct investment into Africa is undergoing a significant shift, not only in volume, but also in source and strategic focus. Although global FDI declined and Africa recorded lower headline figures in 2025, underlying trends show a more diversified investor base and changing sector priorities. In Uganda, FDI continues to grow, rising to $3.48 billion in the year March 2025, driven by energy, oil and gas, ICT, and manufacturing.
According to a report by the UN Trade and Development Conference dubbed Global Investment Trends Monitor, foreign direct investment flows to Africa fell by around 38% in 2025, with North Africa bearing the brunt of the downturn after a strong 2024 performance tied to major mega projects. Southern and Sub-Saharan African regions, however, proved more resilient, with Uganda softening the overall impact, as Jeff Gabo, the chief economist at Absa Group, explains.
In general, there's sort of a positive, mildly positive story happening there, but it's going to be quite sector specific.
Yet, structural shifts are underway. Investors from the outside traditional European and US markets are increasingly active, particularly from the Middle East and Asia, especially China and India.
And then you start to see more direct investment even from some African players. So we're accustomed to seeing over time, over decades, you go to a shopping mall here in Kampala, you're going to see brands that will look very familiar in that shopping mall that we would see in Johannesburg or Cape Town or Durban. But what we're starting to see more and more of is direct investment coming through from places like Egypt, from places like Morocco. So investment coming from some of the bigger economies in Africa.
These sources are expanding beyond the conventional oil and extractive sectors.
Electrification, right, which is renewables, it's more small scale, medium scale projects. We're seeing lots of money come into that space. You have a direct investment coming in different parts of the logistics chain.
Uganda is riding this broader reshaping of investment flows. Its FDI inflows climbed to around $3.3 billion in 2024, and in the 12 months up to March 2025, Uganda attracted a total of $3.48 billion.
We also look at the currency and everything that's happening, and that has continued to attract offshore investors to come into our market to invest.
This figure could even grow larger, with the oil and gas sector nearing commercialization.
They're also working on the netting law that will
$1,940.18. The euro was buying at 4,277.39 shillings, while it was selling at 4,290.07 shillings. Regionally, looking at the Kenyan shilling, it was buying at 27.69 shillings and selling at 27.81, not too far off there. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.18 1.38 and selling there at 1.41 shillings. And those are current currencies as of closing today, rather. And just like that, let's go ahead for some sport. The Education Parliamentary Committee has been forced into suspension after Peter Ogwang, the State Minister for Sport, clashed with Honourable Moses Magogo, Member of Parliament, who is also the Federation of the Uganda Football Association's president, during the committee's sitting.
The Parliamentary Committee has been forced into suspension after Peter Ogwang, the State Minister for Sport, clashed with Honourable Moses Magogo. Caught the Ministry and the National Council of Sports representatives off guard.
As presenting, let's get that right up. Because the Honourable Minister doesn't have, neither do I have.
Thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to affirm that we have not received any submission from FUFA.
No sooner had Magogo started than Minister Ogwang interjected, noting that he was surprised that the FUFA president was making a presentation that he had no copy of, and neither the council.
It's surprising that, as you hear, the FUFA president, who is a colleague, is making a presentation which even I do not have a copy.
Been made here about AFCON and football, but we have not had a consultation with the National Council of Sports. Whatever is being presented here has zero input from the Federation.
The committee chairperson asked Magogo and Ogwang to move out for 10 minutes and reconcile, which turned out to be futile.
Can get out for some 5 minutes, consult as we move with other entities. I think that's very prudent. So, Honourable Minister, and actually I watched you get our flag from Morocco, and we are two of you, so please go on.
The National Council of Sports presented a budget request of 1.5 trillion shillings for the financial year 2026-2027, with the main focus on hosting the African Cup of Nations 2027.
A 1.5 trillion need as an ideal budget. We are not saying government can give us all the money, but this is the ideal budget, which government must know we need. If the money is there, they will give us.
Uganda is set to co-host the 2027 African Cup of Nations alongside Kenya and Tanzania.
Some heroics here. Among the highlights, undoubtedly.
Now, former Express and KCCA FC star Sheikh Umar Senoga has urged footballers to fully commit themselves to the game and invest in their talent if they are to achieve success. He was presiding over the round 2025-26 Stanbic Bank Uganda Cup round of 64 draws. The Premier and FUFA Big League sides will be on the road with holders Vipers SC facing third-tier side Northern Gateways.
Games are going to be played between the 4th and 10th of February 2026. We do confirm the fixtures, and all these clubs, apart from football classroom, they have all licenses which they have been using in their respective league matches. They are the same licenses which are going to be used.
Omupiira gwonna n'emirimu gye tukola gigenda na kwewaayo. Bwe oyagala okufuna ekintu ekirungi olina okwewaayo, olina okwerekereza, olina okwagala. Kati abasambi abalala kati kyemba kubira omulanga. Nga federation bwe yeewaddeyo bwetuyambira awamu ng'eggwanga nga ne gavumenti kweri. Abasambi ebitone babijjeyo bamanyi gye balaga, naye manya gy'olaga olina kusooka kuteekamu. Ebiseera ebisinga twala kusooka kufuna nga tetunaba kulaga mu kye tuteekamu.
Preparation of Uganda Cup, Stanbic, I think we are ready. We are well prepared. But this time we are going to take it very serious, like the way we did in 2017. I think this time we are going to reach to final again.
I would like to declare the draw closed and to encourage all the teams to prepare accordingly. I'm so happy that the classroom team is part of the participants. We keep our eyes on the screen and we shall go to the field to watch.
Well, let's go back looking at our top stories tonight. Kampala awaiting results for division, mayoral and councillor results. Meanwhile, drama as court adjourns the Kasabante presidential petition. And finally, 12 UPC MPs, all from Lango, as Akena cultivating his own empire. Those are top stories this evening. A quick look at the weather and also a quick break.
Movit Relaxer Cream, brought to you by Africa's leading hair and skin experts. I get to wear my hair like I live my life. Movit Relaxer features a moisture-locking ingredient that protects your strands for strength, length, and lasting health, however you wear it. Curly, bouncy, or straight. Movit brings a dazzling brilliance to black hair. Keep moving, keep shining. Bring your hair gold to life and embrace the extraordinary version of you. Movit, all day confident.